There is growing demand for the federal government to take action over the privacy breach at Desjardins Group.
Millions of customers with one of Canada's biggest financial institutions will be busy reviewing their accounts today.
A day after the revelation of a massive data breach at Desjardins Group out of Montreal, the company is now facing a class action lawsuit filed in Quebec Superior Court.
Hey everyone. Today we're going to look into an unfortunate event that occurred in 2019. The Desjardins data breach, which had a significant repercussions not only in Canada but also beyond its borders. On May 27, 2019, Desjardins, a federation of credit unions in Quebec, reported a security breach to the Office of the Privacy Commissioner. These breaches affected approximately 9.7 million individuals in Canada and abroad. Personal information such as names, birth dates, social insurance numbers, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and transaction histories were compromised. The breach originated from within Desjardins, where an employee in the marketing department gained unauthorized access to Desjardins' database. The employee utilized the script to combine data from the different subfolders into a single file. This file was then transferred to a USB device and later disclosed to a private lender, which resulted to compromising sensitive personal information. Dennis Mueller, a former deputy director of the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Center of Canada, highlighted the significant potential impact, including the potential for fraudulent activities such as tax refund claims and identity theft. Initially estimated to affect nearly 3 million individuals and businesses, further investigations by the PIPEDA revealed that the breach's scope to be closer to 9.7 million people. According to the Personal Information Protection and Electronic Documents Act, which is the PIPEDA, different types of personal information were impacted to varying degrees, depending on the product or service obtained and whether the individual was a current or past client or member. The combination of these identifiers poses a significant threat of exploitation for identity theft purposes, persisting over time due to the nature of the compromised data. Desjardins responded swiftly upon discovering the breach in June 2019. Immediate actions were taken to mitigate harm, including notifying affected individuals, providing free credit monitoring and identity theft protection services, offering reimbursements, and enhancing security measures to prevent future breaches. Collaboration with law enforcement and regulatory bodies ensured compliance with data protection laws, and efforts were intensified to fortify Desjardins' security infrastructure. Despite the challenges posed by the data breach, Desjardins remains committed to safeguarding the privacy and security of its members and clients.
According to your review, how PIPEDA applies to this case, considering the result of the investigation, and how would you define the importance of PIPEDA for Canadian society? So we're gonna break the question into two parts. The first part, it appears from the details given that the Desjardins violated a number of some important PIPEDA's guidelines. So some of those guidelines are the respect for the safeguarded principle, which is 4.7, and the accountability principle 4.1. Desjardins failed to put in place the appropriate safety protocols as mandated by PIPEDA that were suitable for the sensitivity of the personal information. Additionally, the firm failed to carry out the accountability principles requirement that establish policies to safeguard personal data and provide sufficient training for its employees. The second one is retention and destruction of personal information, which was the principle 4.5. Desjardins failed to manage personal data in the compliance with PIPEDA principle 4.5 guidelines for retention and destruction. So usually when a personal information is no longer required, it should be appropriately deleted. Personal information, as we saw from first name, second, last name, social security numbers, should only be kept for as long as it's necessary to achieve the goal for which it was obtained for. If Desjardins doesn't follow the rules, people's security and privacy are seriously in danger. The third and the last one, the mitigation steps after the breach. According to our case study, Desjardins failed to appropriately carry out mitigation steps after the breach, as mandated by PIPEDA's 2018 requirement. These clauses stress how crucial it is for businesses to respond quickly and decisively to security breaches in order to reduce their effects and secure the private information of those impacted from further harm. The second part of the question, we can see it's clear that PIPEDA lays on certain standards for firms that handle personal data, which applies in this particular case. PIPEDA provides benefits to Canadian society because it protects people's rights to privacy and promotes confidence in the digital economy. Identifying theft, fraud, and other potential threats have been decreased, as we know, for Canadians because to PIPEDA, which establishes a clear guidelines for how businesses handle personal data. In the end, contributes to the stability and integrity of the Canada economy by increasing customer trust in online transaction and relationship with the business.
The first core area is employees, and the reactions are Desjardins found out that one of its workers was responsible for the breach, which involved the exfiltration of personal data for a minimum of 26 months. In violation of the confidentiality agreement he signed, the malevolent employee copied personal data onto USB sticks. The suggested actions are in order to better inform staff members about data management, confidentiality agreements, and the repercussions of violating security rules, employee training and awareness programs should be strengthened to stop illegal copying and exfiltration of personal data, imposing more stringent access controls and monitoring systems, making sure staff members are aware of and follow their responsibilities by periodically reviewing and updating confidentiality agreements. The second core area is process. The actions and reactions are marketing department staff members as Desjardins copied hacked personal data onto a department-wide shared directory. Every month, the marketing department's shared drive received automated transfers of personal data from the credit data warehouse. The suggested actions are revision and review of the data transmission procedures is advised in order to guarantee that appropriate authorization and encryption are in place to safeguard private data. To find any illegal access or strange activity patterns, doing routine audits and data transfer monitoring. The third core area is systems, and the reactions are Desjardins data warehouses included personal data with different degrees of access restriction. Employees with the required authorizations could access any data including personal information because a credit data warehouse was not divided into sections. The suggested actions are segmenting employees' access to data warehouses according to the least privilege concept, allowing only those who are really necessary, improving data masking and encryption methods to anonymize personal data and reduce the possibility of unwanted access, updating and patching systems often to reduce the possibility that hostile actors may take advantage of them. Perform routine penetration tests and security assessments to find out and fix any holes in the system architecture.
May 27, 2019, a date that sent shockwaves through the digital world, the Desjardins data breach affecting nearly 9.7 million individuals, exposed critical lapses in data protection and compliance with PIPEDA regulations. The data breach was not a sophisticated cyber attack. It was the result of employees' unauthorized access to sensitive personal information. This incident underscores the importance of robust security measures and strict adherence to regulatory standards. To prevent such breaches, organizations must take proactive steps, data awareness, data governance, security measures, employee training, incident response, and continuous improvement. By implementing these recommendations, organizations can enhance data security, protect individuals' privacy rights, and demonstrate compliance with PIPEDA regulations. This fosters trust and confidence in digital transactions and relationships, because in the digital world, data protection is not just a requirement, it's a responsibility.